like that he gives you a picture, with you,
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
I can see at least who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. So you're out of Florida, though, yeah?
Yeah, I just recently moved over to Miami to start training and getting some really good training in out here. My sister lives here, so it was an easy move, so.
Okay. Yeah, no, cool. I think it's great that it's something I was going to bring up. I just think you kind of put yourself out there really well. Not a lot of these fighters, they do that, and you haven't even fought yet, so.
Yeah, no, it's been fun, it's all about, just making the image and kind of, just, showing yourself that, you're not just a complete badass, like, you have extra stuff you want to do too, so it's fun.
Yeah, that piece, you're right, exactly, seeing the other stuff, but, anyways, just kind of like, I want to go on the podcast, or, you were asking, dude, I call him MMA Nate. That's how I'm going to talk about him. I think his real name is Tim, but I'm not 100%. So, anyways, I didn't know how you were really connected to him, but I thought that was cool that, it kind of transpired that way.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, the internet's a great thing. We can all connect together in this little community, even though we're on two different sides of the world right now, or coast.
You don't know his first name, do you?
No, I do not, which is very sad to say, but, some of us, we walk around saying each other's Twitter names than our real names, so.
Yeah, no, don't feel bad. I sat right next to him at a show, like, 2 years ago, and, really cool guy. I've known him on the internet as MMA Made, and then, like I said, I think he said it was Tim, but I'm not 100. I'm not.
Yeah, it's like, well, I know you by your username, so we're kind of close.
Good enough. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to hit us to go live, and then we'll do this. So you're just going to hear an intro, and then we'll get started.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Right. Cool. All right. Here we go. I got a lot of screens here. That's why you hear me maybe struggling through.
But I was for whatever, it's NorCal. Sorry, NorCal.
The game plan is you go in there, you know, with some good shit, don't get hit, and come home with a pocket full of cash.
I think they look at me like I'm some killer, and I'm just like, that's what I need. That's what I need to portray to my adversary, that I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I'm working towards something here, all right? Everybody knows that, they're selling you on wolf tickets, people. You eat them right up. You guys eat them right up.
Guys, what's up? Welcome to this episode of the At NorCal Fight MMA podcast. Joining me this evening is a developing mixed martial artist, Ariana Melendez.
There you go.
Sorry there. You know what? I got your Twitter up here. I'm not sure if your Instagram's the same. I used your Twitter tag, and it's Pequeño Guerrera.
Yes, it's a little warrior in Spanish.
Threw me off a little.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have you on here. You are yet to have a fight, and we're going to talk about hopefully April. And you were supposed to have something in January, right? And then that fell out?
Yes. It's been tons of dates and no fights. That's the motto we've been going by this past couple of months. I was going to fight for 305 Fights, which is a new promotion here in Miami. They have their second fight in February. With the hurricane going on and stuff like that, they said January, then they realized it was kind of more bad than what it was, so they pushed it back to February, and then got into some opponent, problems to where she couldn't cut to 115. So they wanted to settle for a catch weight at 118, but my manager, my coaches, we all said maybe it'd be better to do things right the first time before walking into the wolves. So.
Right. No, it's good. It's good to have people looking out for you and realizing, hey, Ariana, we don't want to. Is it Ariana or Ariana?
Ariana.
Yeah, we don't want to go this way. I just think that's really good to have a support system like that, because otherwise, some of you men and women, you're waiting out for your own good, and you you guys fight with broken things. You know, it's just
Yeah.
too sometimes.
Yeah, my manager, he definitely lets me know when to pump the brakes and say, listen, I know you're excited, but this is what we really have to do. And, you know, being a fighter, I'm like, just let me in there right now. You know, I'll cut down the weight tomorrow. We can do this weekend. And he's like, no, we gotta do things the right way, which I love. I have a huge support system, and I can't thank them enough. Every day I try to let them know that I appreciate them. It's good. It helps, you know, become successful when you have such a good people behind you, especially from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. They're asking you okay, you know, is it everything, you know, working out, you know, how's training, you know, good questions that, you know, just be asked during the day to make people feel like you care. So that's definitely important.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. We're a Northern California based podcast and website, and you know, really, it's not limited to that. But it's kind of funny. Here I am. I usually talk with lots of amateurs in the region, and you know, get myself fired up for the fights that are going to be coming up in the upcoming weekend or whatever. So it's kind of funny to be talking across the country with a developing mixed martial artist here, but. I thought it was cool the way we came connected was through on Twitter, a guy at MMA Made. We shared seats at media events before, and I don't know, you were like asking. It was before your January fight. Hey man, how do I get myself out here? That's what kind of struck me with you, was your desire to reach out and, hey, I got this fight and I just want to talk about it, you know? And he pushed you my way, which I thought was really cool. And but here we are. I just thought the power of the internet.
No, the internet's a great place, especially when it comes to Twitter and stuff like that. You know, we're such a small community as it is, so it's easy to, you know, get connected. And yeah, you know, even though I don't have a fight, you know, I want people to know that I'm here. I'm a 115, I'm a 105 fighter. I got 2 divisions, so, you know, just throw a fight at me. You know, if I have one this month, we can fight next month. Let's just get things planned.
Yeah, kudos to you. I just realizing, because some of them, you know, either you know or you've talked with or you've seen up close, and, you know, you maybe see them fight one time and then they're off the grid. You don't even know who they were.
Yeah.
And I think this is a piece of it. There's another show. There's a few of them here in Northern California where I think it's great to see. It allows me to get a sense of who they are before I talk to them, or I don't know. I think kudos to you. Regardless if it's in Florida, California, you know, get it out there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's, you know, being able to like let people know my story, where I've started, you know, why I want to do this, why I want to, you know, be a part of this amazing community, you know, and just be able to fight and do it for fun. And, you know, it's insane. I love it. I wouldn't want to have it any other way, but it's important, you know, to people know your backstory before you kind of jump in that cage, you know, so they're kind of rooting for you in a way.
Exactly, or rooting against you.
Yeah, exactly. They could maybe hate what I say on here, and then be like, oh, well, I can't wait for her opponent to show up, you know? So it happens.
Exactly, yeah. Well, before I ask you the question to learn your background of, hey, how'd you get into MMA, is what struck me with you is you mentioned your manager, and is your manager just your coach?
He's actually both. And there's a joke where there's a movie, a part in Rocky, I believe, where, you know, the manager and the fighter were, you know, sparring together and stuff. And I thought that was kind of cool. So every time we go into the gym, he's like, oh, well, you get to hit me in the face today, and then I also have to, you know, schedule your next few training sessions, so let's take it easy. But yeah, he's a great guy. We actually met when I was doing open mat at Black House MMA in Miami, and he came up to me. We grappled first. I didn't even know who he was, and he was like, man, I got his back take, I choked him out, and after the round was done, he's like, so where do you train? I'm like, here. And he's like, no way. We had a great conversation, and then the next day he was my manager. It was great, and then he became my training partner. So it's insane. I love it. It's a good thing to be close to your training partners, because he can let me know what I'm doing wrong without me getting offended.
Right. Well, that's again letting your ego go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, there's no filter between him and I, and it's a great relationship, and I think that's a big key into being a successful fighter as well, is, you know, having someone that's on your team and your biggest fan.
Yeah. Well, the manager piece struck me because we said, you haven't had a fight yet, and the idea of a manager, it just automatically stimulates this. This idea of like someone doing things for you and helping create things for you, and I mean, you do a really great job on your own, and so I assumed it was a kind of a connected thing, like you said, a training partner.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually surprised when, he told me his title. I was like, oh, you're a manager, and you're already looking at me like, I'm an 0-0 amateur fighter, right? Like, I'm just I moved here to fight. He's like, perfect. I was like, oh, okay, that's awesome. Like, nice to meet you. So it definitely helps to have people, especially him, do the background stuff. Like, hey, maybe you should, tweet if you forgot, or maybe, you should drink that gallon of water that you've had sitting there all day, or you need to eat right, or, don't drink too much coffee is the big thing right now. So I've been working on that for him.
Good. No, very cool. And that was just something that caught me initially, like, whoa, that's kind of an interesting aspect. And
yeah.
So to bring it up, very cool. Let's do the how did you get into MMA? How are we doing this thing here?
Oh man, well, believe it or not, I was a surfer before I started MMA. So I've surfed junior pro for Puerto Rico in the ISA Worlds. So I got to represent Puerto Rico, but I moved there for 3 years. So when I moved back, I applied at this job called Quiet Flight Surf Shop. So I was working there, being a surf rat, basically, surfing and then working. It was the ideal life, and then going to school. So one day I'm on one of my shifts, and I see a guy walk in with a MMA shirt or a boxing shirt from a local Port Orange gym back from where I'm from, and I was like, where do you train at? And he, gave me the lowdown on this information that they just opened up a gym, blah, 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 to come check it out. And I had always, wanted to try it, because I'm such an athletic person, I want to try everything. So I showed up and fell in love the first 5 minutes. The first striking session, I was like, this is what I want to do. And then we started grappling, and then I fell in love with that. So it was an eye-opener, because I was just like, wow, I could have been doing this all along. I'm really good at it too, so.
What is that at Black House, the first gym you walked into?
The first gym I went to was Pete White Boxing, and it's a little local gym in Port Orange, and the main coach is Pete White. Great guy, amazing coach as well. He basically, pushed me to take this seriously. So I competed with them for the first time in my jiu-jitsu tournament, and, won, basically, and it was placed the top 2 for no gi and gi, so it was a great experience, and, once I realized that this is something that I could take pretty far, I made the phone call for Miami, and I did it.
No, that's great. How long ago was that when you walked into the gym first?
Oh man, I think it was about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I didn't leave, I think, the first 4 months. Sorry. I didn't leave the first 4 months. I was there every single day for 4 hours, and they made a joke. They're like, oh, she hung up her surfboard for some hand wraps and boxing gloves. And I'm like, yeah, I think that actually happened.
Well, what's really funny is you kind of did, in the sense of whenever you're doing these kind of interviews, you want to have a feel for who it is, I guess,
Yes.
So you do the stalker thing on all the social media you can find on them. But if you go down to your Twitter, you flip down, you see some I'll bring up the pin tweet you have there when you're boxing. I had that to bring up with you. But you keep going, and you see kind of the MMA disappear, and then you're on a surfboard. You're like, oh man, this guy's a surfer, very cool. But you see it, it's interesting to see the line. To see it.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are kind of like, well, you were surfing and you were doing really well at it, right? And I'm like, yeah, I was competing and stuff like that. And they're like, when did this happen? I'm like, it all started with a t-shirt and a question, is basically what I tell them, the short story.
Yeah. So the surfing piece I thought was pretty cool, seeing, as I'm scrolling your timeline and seeing you as the surfer, because being next skateboarder.
Yeah, exactly.
Pro nothing. I didn't do anything with it other than I could do some tricks, I felt. But I was kind of athletic, but skateboarding was so unique in that it was all just you. It was like your style. It was. I never compete or train MMA. I like my teeth. I don't want to. I don't need good. I I love watching you guys. But what kind of, besides the athleticism and, with surfing, man, that's even more intense than skateboarding, so what transition do you see with that?
It's a little bit, it's different for sure. I guess you could say from going from a sport to where literally everything relies on you in nature to going to something where it just relies on you. So it kind of, definitely makes that quote, no excuses, like a big thing. Because, when you have to rely on waves, it kind of deters on your whether or not you progress or not. When you wake up in the morning, you go run, you're progressing your cardio for MMA. So it's like, there's no excuse why you shouldn't be training MMA, but for surfing, you kind of rely on a little bit more of nature in that point. So it was different to kind of transition from doing something that I can do every day to something that I used to only be able to do because of the weather or something like that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And yeah, like you said, you can be in the gym all the time, and
yes,
you are a gym rat. So
yeah, I think I'm there probably at least half of my day, if not more, and I spend all day talking about it. So I live and breathe this, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
Good for you. No, that's cool. And so. Something that like I brought up, you go to your Twitter feed at Pequeno Guerrera, and you the pinned one is you boxing, and something without breaking down technique, because that's not me. I can't. I'm just not that guy, man.
Right.
I can't get down like that. But what I can point out is you're very aggressive, and that's something that fans love is an aggressive feel that you're going for the win. You feel very much like that. That was in a boxing ring. You were just training.
Yeah. That was actually with a video of me and my manager, and I also got to spar with Avril Mayfi, I think her last name is, and she just became pro. She's a 1-0 pro boxer now. So I get to work with her a little bit every now and then, but my manager's the one that definitely takes the sparring session, So yeah, and being aggressive is definitely a big key, I feel like, for me, especially since I'm short. I don't have that much length to, do anything like teep from like far away or anything like that. Like I kind of got to go inside, go for the body, and then, just rip it and, back up and reset. So it's definitely a different way for, me versus having to look at like taller people and stuff like that. Because it's a whole different training thing. So I always try to like watch people that would kind of be in like my scenario. And boxing at Fifth Street Boxing Gym has definitely 100% improved my striking. Coach Dino is a very good coach as far as combinations and then adding them to MMA. So it's not just strictly boxing.
Yeah, nice. It's just kind of crazy because I thought Florida had a real busy amateur scene. I know you have another layer on top of that, where being a female and then being so small.
Yes.
I know you guys struggled like some of the worst with getting fights, but like I said, I thought Florida had a huge amateur scene from what I had heard.
Yeah, it's honestly surprising me, and especially since I'm willing to do 2 different divisions as well, it's still kind of hard. So it's all about, just finding the right fight. But we definitely have been looking and stuff like that, and even if we have to travel, that's definitely something that we're willing to do. And it is different that as far as amateur females go, that there's not a huge bracket in Miami or anywhere in Florida, I believe. I know there's a MMA event going on in Orlando, but that's something, a little bit smaller than what we kind of want to do. So it's all about just kind of just waiting for the right moment. But it is a little bit time consuming, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to wait for a long time to just find someone to fight. So
yeah, no, the women around here, in Northern California, they struggle too. Not only just the women, because there's just not a lot of them.
I know.
It seems like it, because if you kind of take this big step back and you look at it and go, oh man, there's all sorts of them, but not really. You kind of you think about it, and the timing, the sizes, the weights, it just doesn't pan out the way you think to create opportunities.
Yeah, it's definitely makes it a little bit more harder than training, finding a partner or opponent. And I had never thought that would be the case, but it makes it fun. That's what makes us strawweight and atom fighters, standouts, because there's not that many of us. And when we do good, it's noticed that we're doing really well. Especially if we walk in there and get a first round knockout or something, people are like, well, this is an atom weight to watch, and there's not that many of them, or strawweights, or amateur strawweights, so it's good. It's a catch-22 because you're able to present yourself and become noticed a lot faster versus being like a 125 guy or something. So it's bittersweet, but definitely when I can finally get in there, it'll be something that will be recognized because there's not that many.
Yeah, I think, and then too, with the going pro, yeah, you might get some fights, like let's say you work your way up, you get some awesome wins, you go pro, and it's an Invicta. You might get some atom weights, with the 105, but it seems like 115 would be your best bet. With it just seems like there are more women there when you get to a higher level, and even atom weights you don't see very many of them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a tough division, and that's kind of why we always have the 115 to kind of back it up. And right now I'm walking around at 115. So it's a pretty fun weight because I'm like, well, I can fight tomorrow if I wanted to, because it's such an easy weight for me. And because I'm so small, I appreciate that I can have two different divisions because that means, I can have two different titles here at the end of the day. So it's fun, but 115 is definitely my strong suit because I don't have to deal with a weight cut. I could fight right now, if I wanted to. So it's good.
How old are you?
I am 22. I just turned 22 on December 20th.
Yeah, I was just thinking too. You're getting bulking up. You get older, and so anyways, yeah, that maybe that 105 thing will just completely disappear. Who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely a time frame thing for sure. As far as all of that goes, is like weight and stuff. I want to try. If I'm gonna do atom weight, it's definitely something that I want to do. Like maybe for my first fight, and tackle that division and just see how it goes. But always available for a 115.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. It seems like you were somewhat of a fan to recognize the type of shirt that the guy was wearing to then want to know about the gym. What was your level of fandom before doing it yourself?
I remember watching, I believe it was Ronda Rousey, just like a highlight video that I was clicking on because I was just bored on YouTube one day. And the waves were bad or something. So I remember clicking on it and just seeing it. I'm like, what? People do this? This is a sport? This is considered a sport right now. I'm like, sign me up. What have I been doing? So yeah, as soon as I figured out what the UFC was, I was like, wow, I need to follow Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, all of these up and coming, Mike Tate. I just looked all of them up and just binge watched all of their highlight, reels and stuff like that. And I'm just like, wow, this could be super fun. This is something I probably really want to do. So the second chance that I got, I did it.
That's cool. So you are a big fan of it, and you follow it. How closely can you name the entire main card of 219? Are you just kind of a headline, what do you think? My manager says the same thing. He does most of the watching for me and, fills me in. But I like to watch more of the situational fights that I might be in. And maybe the lighter guys, like the bantamweights and stuff like that, to get an idea with who's moving differently now. Like the TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt fight. That was a great fight to watch because I saw the levels change. You see someone move differently, or you see someone move slower, or you see someone planting a different way than they would last fight, and it's like, well, that's different, And then to see the women fight Tecia Torres, it was like a situational thing. I watched kind of how she handled herself being around someone that has a little bit more reach on her and stuff like that, and it was good to watch. It was good to see that the way that I'm doing things and the way I'm training is basically the right way for what I would be in a situation. Yeah. Okay, so I meant you as a student. I just assumed you were pretty hardcore with it and we're catching every fight every weekend.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely something to sit down and watch. But as far as like studying and stuff goes, I try to study definitely like the situational and the lighter guys. But as far as like watching the heavyweight fights, me, my brother-in-law, and my sister, we love watching the heavy fights because we're just like, who's gonna get knocked out now? Like it's all about timing, and it's like when you finally see it happen, you're just like ah. So yeah, we love to watch it for the entertainment, and I love to just watch it for the studying as well. It's really good, and UFC has such good quality that it's good to just sit there. You can like pause things and keep going and rewind. So it's fun.
Oh yeah. Who do you have mentioning heavyweights and Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou for UFC 220?
Yes.
That's fun. Who do you have for that?
Ngannou for sure. We have, my family and I have become huge Ngannou fans. That's definitely 100%. He's such a skillful fighter. I was watching his open workout for the 219 fight, and he just seemed so dialed in and almost quick with it. His footwork was on point. It was really different to watch a heavyweight move the way he does. So that's how you can kind of pinpoint like he's definitely somebody to watch. Yeah.
I mean, I think Alistair Overeem's head is still into orbit.
That was an insane knockout, and I think I've watched it about 250 times, to be honest with you, just to try and see like how Ngannou flowed that uppercut into that combination. It was done so perfectly that I was just like, that's definitely something everyone should try and throw into their bag of tricks, because it was so done well.
Oh, yeah, it was. I mean, it's just, I don't think many humans are that fast and then that powerful all in one.
Yes.
So
yeah,
it shows uniqueness.
He's definitely someone to watch, and I can't wait to see him grow. I was reading his backstory and stuff like that, and I was just like, wow, people come from the worst places and definitely make an impact on such a community like this one. So it's fun to see.
And then, I mean, as we kind of are closing up and getting close to closing up, if anyone has questions who is following along and watching and wants to throw them in the comments and add in, they're more than welcome to, and I'll share them with you and ask you. But so this Saturday is UFC 219, and that's headlined by a couple of women, Cyborg and Holly Holm.
Oh, that's going to be a fight to watch. And, I just don't know who to root for, to be honest with you. I'm just like, Holly Holm, she's taking out some huge names and stuff like that. And you got Chris Cyborg with, her past record and stuff like that. So it's like, I guess I'm Switzerland. Like, I guess I just kind of just have to watch it and just watch the great fight. But Chris Cyborg, her having her come back, and then Holly Holm not fighting for so long, they're both hungry. So it's going to be an insane fight to watch.
Yeah, Cyborg always brings it, and then it's just interesting with the Holly thing, and she's got this range, and she has the stand-up, background and the boxing skills, but I don't know, man, Cyborg's, she's scary, so.
Definitely scary, yeah, no, I think if I ever had to fight her, I'd walk in and just be like, wait for the bell to ring and just do the best I could do. I give props to Holly Holm for taking the fight.
Yeah, and exactly. 45 and
yeah.
Cyborg's. Do you ever see the picture with her next to Dominic Cruz?
I believe so. I did.
It blew my mind. It just that really surprised me, because Dominic Cruz, a 135, he cuts a lot to make his weight, and Cyborg just made him look so tiny. Seriously.
Yeah, no, she has the power behind, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see what kind of technique Holly Holm does to kind of stay away from her power punches.
Yeah. I guess something interesting I thought as we were chatting, and I see your image here, you look like, I mean, if we want to make a NorCal connection, you kind of look like if we took, do you know who Yaya Rincon is? She's an Invicta fighter. She's a bantamweight. She's still undefeated. She's a monster.
Did she just fight?
Yeah, not the last Invicta card, but the one before that. And she displayed incredible comeback of the girl was bigger and, was, I don't want to say beating her up, but catching her.
Yeah.
And then, dude, she came out, just bulldozed her and beat her into oblivion. It was incredible. But a mix of her with like Claudia Cordelia, which has no NorCal connection, but she kind of blended you two. Like I can get you.
I've been told that about maybe 4 or 5 times this year, so that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So, anyways, I had a great time talking with you, and I guess was there anything else you wanted to make sure we got out there to highlight you, your team, just anything?
Just keep watching, because it's gonna be insane when I finally can get my fight going and stuff like that. I'm definitely gonna be the one to take over both divisions here soon. So I definitely want everyone to keep updated. So it'll be fun. And thank you so much for giving me the chance to do this podcast with you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, when you're coming close, highlight you again. Absolutely. So I love doing it, and I'm glad you enjoyed it too. So
of course. Thank you so much, Team Pequeño Guerrero.
Hell yeah. No, great. And then have a good rest of your night, and we'll be staying close for sure.
You as well, Dave. Have a good one.
All right. Good night.
Bye. Alright guys, just got done finishing my podcast with NorCal MMA. It was absolutely fun. You can go ahead and check it out on their Facebook page, NorCal MMA Facebook. And you can also check out our Twitters as well. Go to my Twitter, @Pequeño Guerrera, and go to his, @NorCal MMA. You guys can check everything out. Have a good one, guys.